Hello, and welcome back to another RiftGuides WildRift video. And for today, we are going to take a look at Fiddlesticks. I already got the jungle clear down on one side, and now we are actually going to take a look at what else we can do with this lovely champion. So first, let's just give us all the levels and all the money, because yeah, that's what we desperately want and need. Now let's take a look at items. As per usual, you're playing an AP champion, so most of the time you'll just build these boots, right? So now there's a question. What item is the best first item for this champion? Rabadon's Death Cap isn't an option, Awakened Soul Stealer isn't really an option as well, so what we can think of is potentially even Luden's Echo. Because our champion will go in with high burst damage, and then this item will help us even more. Now, with this in mind, to protect our champion, because we have very low health and we are very squishy, what about going Crown of the Shattered Queen's second item? With this, we have quite a bit of AP. We have 230. That's not too bad. And obviously, as we get the Shattered Queen, we are now able to protect our stacks more reliably. So this lovely item, Magi's Soul Stealer, will be an alternative choice that we definitely have to go for. Other items that I can think of being very useful on this champion right now would be either Infinity Orb or Awakened Soul Stealer, like one or the other. And if you feel like it's not a Magi's game, what you can do, you can simply have both of these items. Cool, right? The only thing that would change from my perspective, if you have, for example, a fully stacked Magi's on this item slot, then I believe going for the Rabadon's Death Cap is the best choice here. Because even now, without any stacks on the Magi's, so I'm missing 150 AP, I have 522 AP. So if you keep that in mind that I gain 150 extra AP, and then the bonus factor of this item as well, granting me more AP, then you see that this item outvalues everything at this point. Now, as we go into the later stages of the game, obviously we want more damage. So if we don't have the Magi's, I believe we can debate that we go for Infinity Orb or Awakened Soul Stealer on the third item slot, then we go for Rabadon, and then we go for another flat pan item. Right now, we'll have so much damage because we have so much pen. We have 35% pen and 23 basic pen. Now, what about the enchantments? As I'm not even 6 minutes into the game, I can't even buy an enchantment, but most of the time you'll probably go for Stasis Enchant, or if that isn't an option that is required, you can think about QSS if you have to run through or don't want your ultimate to be cancelled, and other choices like Protobelt. But anything apart from this is not really an option for you, is it? So, things that we are now going to test. We are quickly getting ourselves some zero cooldowns, and we do an ability rundown for you. Okay. Let's walk into the middle lane and hope there's no enemy champion. So we'll place a few dummies. He's looking at us. It's doomed. So, okay. Fiddle's passive. Let's take a quick look at Fiddle's passive. After the champion or epic monster takedown summons a Scarecrow effigy to where they are killed. Scarecrow effigy fears nearby enemies after being charging up for 2 seconds. So basically you have like, if you know Lissandra from League PC, Lissandra has the same passive, but it deals damage than just fearing. It slows and it deals damage. So this is kind of a crowd control ability. So if we were just to think about this little, this guy here, so we just quickly kill him. There we see it. And then it happens. Well, rip. Okay, so what does our first ability do? Let's give it a quick read. While out of combat and stationary or visible to not visible to the enemy team, Fiddlestick's next ability additionally fears targets for 1.8 seconds. Active, summons crows that attack enemies along the path, dealing magic damage equal to 10% of the respective current health. If the targets were recently feared, the damage is doubled. So it's current health and it scales with AP, so we really have to keep that one in mind, because it's a lot of damage if we go for a full combo. But Fiddlesticks is really loud, he's yelling a lot. Well, rip him. Now for the next ability, Bountiful Harvest. Siphons the souls of nearby enemies, dealing damage per second, and the last tick deals equal to the target's missing health, and you heal yourself by draining life from enemies. 50% from enemy champions, and there's already a few tricks. So, this ability can be cast like this, but you can move. It has a range check, as you see, I walk out and nothing happens. Cool. But what does it also do? Let's hide this buff, this thing in here. Take a good look at my second ability and how it lights up. It tells me if somebody's in the brush. Look. Hello. And it grants me vision on these targets. So let's just pretend the enemy champion is an Akali or a Kha'Zix. If I press this ability, they'll be revealed to my team. Another thing that is very cool to showcase you the fearing ability is if I place a dummy here, and if I use this, he's only silenced. Why is he only silenced? That is quite interesting. Shouldn't he be feared? Like if I cast my first ability, he is feared. So now I'll go out of combat and I'll wait. Let's wait for a second. Now he's feared. And now my first ability deals double the damage. Which is quite a lot because, well, they have 10,000 HP, so don't be confused about these numbers. But yeah, also there's a few things that I want to talk about when it comes about jungle clearing. Take a good look. They're feared. Why is not every one of them feared? And sometimes while jungle clearing, it doesn't even fear at all because you're apparently visible to them for some reason. So what does your third ability do specifically? Let's take a quick look. Your third ability slashes the target location with your scythe, dealing bonus magic damage. And the area they are hit with slows them, and they are silenced if it hits in the center. Take a good look. Here. Clap. And if I'm out of vision, let's see if this counts as out of vision. Oh, they'd still see me. Still see me here as well. Let's place this here. It shouldn't see me, so it should be feared. Yes. Good. They shouldn't see me, so this should be feared. But they are not feared. Do you see what I mean? Sometimes, even though it says I only need to be not visible by them, because it gives me the choice between or and not hit by them. So yeah, so while out of combat and stationary, all not visible to the enemy team, Fiddlesticks next damaging ability fears the target for 1.8 seconds. Well, as you see, fear. No fear. Why? I don't know. This is something that actually hurts your jungle clear because it makes you slower. So if you play perfectly, like you do these two camps together, very easy. Then you do this, also very easy. Then you transition here, and then you want to use your third ability to fear the camp here. But it isn't feared, so your first ability doesn't deal double damage, and then it slows down your clear because you want to clear the chickens as you transition into the red buff, so your second ability kills the chickens as you transition over, and then you do the same thing here. So you're basically getting punished for playing well. Now, what does Fiddlesticks Ultimate do? Channels for 1.5 seconds, then blinks to the target location, dealing magic damage. So, how does this one look like? So you see this indicator? Now it's just yeet, and it's a lot of damage. That's a decent amount of damage, considering that I don't have, well, and one extra AP item because I have this item. So if I just do myself a favor and just quickly, you know, walk back and exchange this lovely item with another one of these, you will quickly see how much more damage I will have, because now I have 38 flat pen and 35% pen. So yeah, this one is going to hurt. So you see that's like 20 damage more per tick, so like probably 80 damage per. But in direct comparison, if I had a fully stacked Magi's, things look a little bit different. And also, not many champions will have 100 MR. This is something you have to really keep in mind. So how do you play Fiddlesticks? Fiddlesticks, as a champion, really loves to have the flank on people. Like, you don't want to be visible like most other champions, you're more like this kind of champion. Let's say the enemy is doing the dragon here, and you have vision control in this brush. What you do is you basically wait for them to do this objective, and the enemy simply isn't allowed to do so, because all you will do is just ult in and wipe them. Like, you will just kill them. Another thing that's very cool is if you W, you can use auto attacks in between. And your passive spawns a scarecrow if you kill a big monster. Now the curious thing is, what happens if you auto attack? You have to continuously input the auto attack as you suck. It doesn't do it automatically for you. And just in case here, let's see if I can do it on the first try here. No, I can't. But yeah, you can basically do these two camps together and save so much time in the early game, which is very good for you. But what is Fiddle's biggest weakness? Fiddle's biggest weakness is not having ultimate. Like if you look at this champion and be like, okay, what can this champion provide? Okay, it has Disfear, disengage into all-in combos. Okay, cool. It has AoE control with the silence. Okay, very cool. How does this champion deal damage though? He has to basically suck the enemy. That's very nice, but what happens if you just can't get in range? Because as you see, the range is not really that big. Look, it's not really that amazing. It is a little bit more than your auto attacks range. So what do you do if you can't use your second ability? You're basically a liability for your team. Because your champion is completely ult-centric. Like, if we take a good look on full items, how much ability, like, how much cooldown does it have? 46. How much ability haste do we have right now? We have 50. So we can still get some more by choosing other items, technically speaking. But yeah, we are completely dependent on our ultimate's ability and flanks. That is something you have to keep in mind. Our champion farms very fast once we are in a position of having, like, for example, our boots, then we are super fast, but then it's technically all about our ultimate ability. So for your first clear, you will do blue buff, gromp, wolves, chickens, red buff, then this lovely camp, then you can check this here, but if you get into a fight, you'll most likely lose, and you recall. Then after the recall, you are level 5, or on the way you're going up here at 228, 229 is when you passively gain level 5 after not getting the scuttle crab. Then you can go for an ult play. All you need to have is vision control here or here in these brushes, and then you can do whatever you want to do. Same happens for mid lane and other positions. For example, let's imagine you are the enemy. The enemy is currently here chilling, farming the wave, and you manage to get in here from behind him. Then your most typical play is just going to be ulting in from behind and saying hello. And you have a lot of tools to CC them for quite some time, because keep in mind, you have your first ability, which is a fear, and the passive fear of this one, and you have a silence. So if you do it perfectly, the enemy will not be able to do anything for at least 2 seconds in the early game, and up to 3 seconds in the late game. And 3 seconds in the late game of not being able to cast spells is detrimental to one's health. You can basically just say this, right? For other things we need to talk about is Fiddle's roles. For now, Fiddlesticks is a jungle. I don't see him function in lane very well. Simply because he has such little healing from minions and generally, but I have to test it. Maybe he's a niche champion into a specific tank in the Baron lane, or he can just negate mid lane champions, but I highly doubt this one because he'll just get bullied by normal mages and assassins, because this champion really has trouble reaching. Keep that in mind. Other than this, it seems like an interesting addition to the game, but I think it's a very niche champion that is only good for a few select people who are very aware as to what is happening on the map. If you don't know how to approach fights, if you don't know how to choose fights, then this champion will be basically a worse version of a Mumu because he's not tanky. But you're very lucky because Crown exists, so you'll be forgiven many of your mistakes because you can just jump in there and kill them, but only if you have your ultimate ability. So really, really, really play around your ultimate and make sure you use it well, because if you use your ultimate and only gain 1 kill, 20 seconds before one objective spawns, for example Herald, which is like 50 times the priority of Dragon right now, then you're in a bit of trouble. That is basically all there is to it. Gameplay-wise, you will max your second ability first. Then I assume you will go for your first ability, because it increases the fear duration, and then afterwards, you'll max your third ability. That is what I assume is going to happen. You'll start with your second ability, then you'll go with your third ability, and then with your first ability. Maxing second ability first ability after, and third ability last. And obviously, always put a point into ultimate when you can. Items we did cover. Are there any other options we can think about? I mean, technically speaking, we could think about some Imperial Mandate shenanigans, because we are CCing people, you know, and therefore we apply mandate to multiple people. Like we can just do a quick showcase of how that one would look like. Let me get into base. Where is my mandate? Where is my mandate? Hello, beautiful. Okay, now we just have to place some enemy dummies. Okay. Yeah, there's 5 mandates, which basically, let me get away here. There's 5 mandates, and then we can get a lot of extra burst damage on top, which is like some kind of a niche usage you can think about, which I believe can be very potent. But yeah, other than this, I don't see many items being viable on this champion. Some people could debate Raleigh, so people can't walk out of your ultimate, but it's more about like if you jump in and fear them, they don't walk out anyway. Leandris, I mean, what's the purpose of this item on your champion if you're like a burst-centric champion that just jumps in and gets somebody killed? Ludens is very good, Morelnomicon is situational. All the other items just appear to be doing nothing for your champion unless you really need Oceanit's Trident. But yeah, as I said earlier, you'll probably make the decision of having your Magi Soul Stealer on 3rd item to then get Rabadon 4th, and then you're one happy gamer with a lot of AP. Keep in mind, I also don't have runes stacked up, so theoretically speaking, Magi's would be 180 AP. Zombie Ward, if I took it, could be another 50 AP. So we are 230 AP without any amplification for Rabadon. Then we can add Gathering Storm to the mix if we choose to take it. And yeah, that is quite a lot of extra AP, wouldn't you agree? And with that AP, we basically one-tap people. Again, even if the ultimate doesn't look as powerful in the sense of high numbers in sequence, like if you just take a look again, like it's 142 per 0.5 seconds, which is very misleading because you only read 142 instead of reading 560 per second. So yeah, that is something that will like make people very confused because they don't see a high number, just low numbers in fast sequence. And if you happen to get feared, you are probably just done. And that's basically it for Fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks is a jungler. Fiddlesticks needs to farm early game. Fiddlesticks needs items to perform. Fiddlesticks needs his ultimate to perform really well. Fiddlesticks needs to play around vision. He really needs to understand how to avoid the enemy's vision to start the fight with a like key move of just fearing them and making sure they can't play. And he needs to understand the priority of getting control around objectives early on to then jump in the best situation. Will Fiddle be a great champion for the casual player? I don't think so. And I also don't think that Fiddle will be a like insane champion for even good players. There are so many champions that are so strong early game that clear a lot faster than him. For example, Evelynn clears the entirety of her jungle in 1 minute and 25 seconds. Morgana clears the entirety of her jungle in 1 and 22 seconds. Lee Sin clears the entirety of his jungle in 1 minute and 33 seconds. And all of these champions are, I think, 134, like somewhere between 133 and 37, I think, after the buffs. And yeah, like this champion clears the jungle too slow and is not strong enough to compete with these other champions, while they're able to do so much more early on. But if this champion gets ahead and his team is able to play around this vision control kind of thing, then this champion can be very powerful. But WildRift is very chaotic, and therefore I don't believe that this champion will be so good. But please correct me, please let me be wrong that this champion is absolutely bonkers and broken, but I don't think so, at least as of right now. Maybe as the patch evolves and maybe we see some changes to the meta, but we are basically forced to wait and see. And that concludes today's video. Thank you all for watching. These are my thoughts on Fiddlesticks, and if you liked the video, leave a like, boost the algorithm, call me whatever, and we'll see each other in the next video and when I'm streaming again. I can't even speak. Perfect.